What's up, Fortnite fam? Zeke here. Let's take a look back at Week 5 of the Fortnite World Cup Online Open. Week 5 marked the halfway point of the competition, and we were back to solos. In Oceania, the standings were extremely close, but one player saw a window of opportunity and absolutely crushed it. In his 7th game, Ling dropped 11 eliminations and a victory royale, netting him 21 points. In Game 8, he picked up another victory royale with 3 elims for 13 more points. He closed out Week 5 with 93 points, 11 ahead of 2nd place, and punched his ticket to the finals. Asia has proven their talent pool is incredible, and their players are capable of adapting to updates quickly. With Season 9 dropping in Week 5, Meta's Peterpan showed he was ready for anything, and had already made the adjustments he needed to secure first place. He played through 9 games, with 7 of those games being top 5 finishes, and 2 of those 5 being victory royales. Peterpan scored 89 points in the finals, with 62% of those points coming from placement, securing himself the qualifying spot. We've known for a while that Europe is a stacked region, but in Week 5 they took things to a whole new level. From massive games and huge upsets, to Mr. Savage climbing up the side of a mountain while shadow bombed to secure a victory royale.
Oh my goodness!
What a play!
The best shadow bomb use I've ever seen! Mr. Savage M!
EU had some of the highest tier gameplay we've ever seen. And after everything was said and done, Atlantis Lecce sat at the top of the standings with 87 points, 20 points clear of 2nd place. AGO Harkos held 2nd place with 67 points, followed by N47's Klusha in 3rd, Energy's Mr. Savage in 4th, Ghost Issa in 5th, and MGA Snazy in 6th. Fnatic Smeef rocketed his way into qualifying with a crazy final game. With 1 game left, he had to score 21 points if he hoped to qualify. He went full send and dropped 12 eliminations and the victory royale, scoring 22 points, locking in 7th, with Dual Media Blaster rounding out the top 8. With every week, Brazil continues to get better and better, and they are showing the world why we should be paying attention. 6 players were all battling it out for the top spot, and it all came down to their final match. In the end, W7M DK Out was holding first place with 82 points, just 1 point ahead of Red Techno Viking. This was especially impressive because DK Outs racked up the 82 points in just 8 games, and picked up 29 points in his last 2 games to close out the region. Back in Week 1 of NA East, Dubs qualified placing 2nd. In Week 3, he placed 6th, and in Week 5, he was back for more, claiming the #1 spot with 84 points. Misfits Clicks qualified in Week 3, and with another outstanding performance, placed 3rd. Both of these players showed how consistent they are, and that everyone else should be afraid of their skill. Because both had qualified in previous weeks, there were still 6 spots up for the taking. In his last game, Energy Zayt picked up 5 elims and a victory royale, which propelled him up into 2nd place with 71 points, claiming the first qualifying spot. Rogue Shark placed 4th with 66 points, picking up the 2nd spot. Colorful scored 64 points, picking up the 3rd. FaZe Megga, Bucky FPS, and Class secured themselves the last 3 spots to the finals. Over on the west side of North America, there were 2 spots on the line. Liquid's Riverson stole the show, and the first place spot with a great performance and 87 points. Keep in mind though, he already qualified back in Week 1, coming in 2nd place with 80 points, so there was still 2 spots. After his 10 games, Rux was in 2nd place with 76 points, with 59% of those points coming from placements. Every week is a new opportunity for players to make a name for themselves. And this week, that was the case for Pizu. No one seems to know who Pizu is, and before qualifying, he didn't even have a Twitter. But what he does have is a ticket to the finals in New York City. There's only 5 weeks left of competition before the World Cup finals. Who else will join the players going through? We'll find out in the coming weeks. Fortnite fam, I'm Zeke.
And I'm Sundown.
We're officially past the halfway point of the Fortnite World Cup Online Open qualifiers. This was a big week for a lot of players, so let's recap what went down. With a spot up for grabs in Oceania, we knew the competition would be fierce, but we had no idea that Volx and Parpy would drop a record-breaking scoreline. In fact, the easiest way to break this down is to just show their match history. They played 8 total matches. Of those 8, 5 were victory royales, and the duo picked up 102 eliminations total, good for a whopping 159 points when all was said and done. 6 of their matches were double-digit elimination performances, and 2 of those were 20-plus elimination games. Their performance was truly incredible. Volx and Parpy have reliably been on top of the leaderboard every weekend, so expect to see them placing high as they attempt to qualify for solos and get in duos practice as we head into the finals.
Asia has an incredible talent pool, and we've already started seeing the consistent players rise to the top. 5 teams had their eyes set on a single qualifying spot. KGA's Sexy Boy and Backho, the 2 top duos of Banny and Faxfox and Ming and Puzz, Medusa and Quicks, and then Mendy and XXM from Newbie. While battling it out, Sexy Boy and Backho pulled out in front and were leading the pack. However, in their last game, Newbie's X-Mendy and XXM clutched up big time and picked up a victory royale along with 4 eliminations, landing 14 points. This put them into first place by just 4 points and was enough to punch their tickets to the finals in New York City.
E11's Stompy and Tashinkin are easily one of the scariest duos going into the Fortnite World Cup final. They qualified back in week 2. In week 4, they dominated, placing first. And guess what? They did it again! In week 6, they held the #1 spot with 105 points, the only duo to break a triple-digit score. Keep in mind though, Stompy and Tashinkin weren't the only players to have already qualified that placed top 10. The duo of Energy Benji Fishy and Mr. Savage placed 3rd, and Secret Mongrel and Atlantis Metro placed 6th. Because these titans had already qualified, there were still 2 spots available. The story out of EU this week was consistency and redemption. For 2 weeks, we've watched the Solary duo of Nikoff and Airwaks come so close to be edged out at the very end, just barely missing the qualification. This was their week. They knew they had to bring it, and they claimed the first of 4 spots up for grabs. But it wasn't only them. Their teammates Kinstaar and Hunter also qualified. This was a huge week for the French team, because the entire Solary crew is going to the finals together, taking the first 2 qualifying spots. Lanouf and Quentin jumped up the leaderboard from 30th to 5th with an incredible last game, where they dropped a 10 elim victory royale. With a single spot left, VP 7SSK7 and Jamside and BTL Orange and XOXO tied with 86 points. They tied at points, they tied at victory royales. But the VP duo came out ahead in average elims, earning them the final spot in Europe.
In Brazil, W7M PFZen and W7M Nix qualified in week 2, and they were back to show the world that they were a formidable duo, topping the leaderboard with 117 points. This meant there was still a spot on the line, and again, it came down to tiebreakers. The duos of Gustavo X8 and Wishy DP and King and Xzone both had 110 points. However, Gustavo and Wishy winning 4 out of their 8 games made the difference, with victory royales being the tiebreaker and the wins being enough to send them through to New York City. Over in North America, East was up first with 3 qualifying spots up for grabs. The 100 Thieves duo of Cease and Elevate were 1 point from qualifying back in week 4, and with a great showing the day before, they knew that week 6 was their week to qualify. They took home the #1 spot. Complexity's Landjock and Punisher slid into the 2nd place in the last few moments, with a top 5 finish with a couple of elims helping them claim the #2 spot. Energy Zayt and Go Saf placed 3rd, and Misfits Clicks and Skeptic placed 4th. Both of these duos already qualified previously, so the last spot went to the duo from FaZe, Megga and Dubs, who had 88 points in 5th. Their incredible run was topped off with 53 points in their last 2 matches, an 18 elimination and 15 elimination back-to-back victory royales to book a spot in New York City.
The final region of the day saw one spot up for grabs in NA West. Zayt Jay and S2 Little were able to overcome the rest of the competition. Their 102 points was enough to barely edge out Love Voxy and Love See It Dark, as well as a late surge from Goshan and Aiden. Little and Jay were able to balance aggression with solid placements to secure the final duel spot of the week. We're over halfway through the competition, so players will only have a handful of opportunities to claim spots and make it to the Fortnite World Cup Finals. Thanks for joining us, Fortnite fam. I'm Zeke.
And I'm Sundown, and we'll see you guys on the Battle Bus.